Well, hello. This is just a quick little through-course task refresher for anyone who needs it. Just a couple of reminders. We need to give one of those TCTs prior to the winter break, so that's coming up, and then the other one given before March 1st. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was first just context. Just remembering that we've got these three dimensions or the pillars of next-gen science standards. So we've got our science and engineering practices, and just as a reminder for those of you who aren't fourth grade teachers, right, and you're not a tested year in science, I know that sometimes science is not at the forefront of what you're doing. So just context and reminder. So these science and engineering practices, those are the practices that scientists engage in when they investigate and build models and theories about the world around them. And the engineering practices that the engineers use when they design and build models and systems. So that's one of those dimensions of the next-gen science standards. Then we've got those cross-cutting concepts, and those have applications across all the domains of science. And the domains come up in those disciplinary core ideas that are next. But these cross-cutting concepts, right, have application across all the domains of science. And they're really a way of linking all those different domains together. So cross-cutting concepts are things like patterns or similarities and diversities or, for example, energy and matter. So again, things that would appear in each of the different domains. And then finally, we've got the disciplinary core ideas, and those are grouped into those four domains. So in the disciplinary core ideas, you've got the four domains of physical science, you've got life science, earth and space science, and then engineering, technology, and applications of science. So thinking about those three dimensions, the three course tasks really are focused on the dimensions of science and engineering practices and the cross-cutting concepts. So it's not really focused as much, so it's really the three-course task is really what's called a two-dimensional assessment, because it's just focusing on those two dimensions and really meant to assess student capabilities around those two dimensions. So again, doesn't spend time as much assessing the disciplinary core ideas or the content piece, really focused on assessing the science and engineering practices and those cross-cutting concepts. So it's going to spend time thinking about, are kids able to look at a particular phenomenon and make notices and ask questions, or how can they develop models or plan an investigation, or maybe construct an argument or an explanation regarding a phenomenon. It's also going to be thinking about, for example, patterns that exist in one domain of science that might help me explain another one, and will allow kids to think about those cross-cutting concepts that they've been learning about and the science and engineering practices to be able to explain the phenomena that's occurring. So remember, your TCTs are going to discuss disciplinary core ideas, but it's never going to be a prerequisite to access the task. So the disciplinary core ideas are really the anchors that give the kids something to think about, but the information around the disciplinary core idea will be embedded into the through-course tasks. So if students come without a particular background knowledge around, like, say, life science or a life cycle or erosion, then that's okay, because the three-course task is going to give them the information to help them be able to access it. And they'll really be thinking through those other two dimensions, the science and engineering practices and the cross-cutting concepts. So again, your big reminder here is that the purpose of the through-course task is to assess the science and engineering practices and those cross-cutting concepts anchored through the disciplinary core ideas. So I sent out a link a few weeks ago to the science assessment website. And remember that when you are ready to give your 3-course task, then you get to choose that 3-course task. Now, the hope was always that we would continue getting more and more 3-course tasks or TCTs in the bank. I think at this point it still looks as though it's what we had last year. But I did just want to walk you through. I'll send this link out again when I send the link to this video as well. But I just wanted to walk you through how you get to that resource bank. So the link will actually take you to this page, and I linked this page specifically because there was some information on here that if you wanted to do some further learning for yourself, this was a good place to start regarding the science assessment system. So I linked this page specifically for that, but here is the process you're going to go through to get to the resource bank. So you'll click on this link, the SharePoint Science Assessment System through Course Task Resource Bank, and it will take you to this page. And deceivingly, you do not get the bank here. Then you'll click on this link, through Course Task Bank, and that will bring up your most current TCTs. So you can see the grade levels here, 5th grade, 9, 10, 11, 12, 7, 4. So at this point it probably looks pretty familiar. My one recommendation is that you go ahead and print from this updated test bank. Some changes may have been made, so you'll want to print from here before you assess. And good luck. I hope that helps.